Hello! How are you? Today I'm going to tell you why more and more people aged 50, 60, and 70 are starting to consume gelatin. In the past, when we thought of gelatin, we thought of children, sweets, and pudding. But nowadays, gelatin is increasingly being used by older people who want to improve their joints, their skin, their digestion, and blood sugar control. You're going to love this video. I'll tell you how much gelatin should we consume, what are the best forms of gelatin, because there are some very important mistakes to be careful of, and preparations you can add. Stay until the end, you won't want to miss it. Before we begin, I want to ask you if you have the habit of consuming gelatin on a daily basis. Is it flavored gelatin? Is it unflavored gelatin? How do you add this? I'd love to see your comment. When I talk about gelatin, a lot of people say, "Oh my God, a nutritionist recommending gelatin? That's absurd. It's full of dyes and sugar." That's not it. The gelatin I'm talking about is neutral, colorless, flavorless, sugar-free, with nothing added. That powder, you know? Granulated, kind of yellowish, that we put in water and it turns transparent. Transparent and yellowish, right? Almost like egg white. This gelatin is pure collagen, cooked collagen, so it really is very healthy. It has no sugar, no coloring, no preservatives. So it really is a healthy food. And that can and should be consumed by people who are 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old because it can bring many benefits to our health. I mentioned that gelatin is cooked collagen, so the first benefit that comes to mind when we think of gelatin is the benefit for the joints. Collagen is very necessary to improve circulation, to improve the joints in our body, to enhance their health, to provide us with support and better joint health. For the hydration of this cartilage, for the lubrication of these cartilages. So it will really help to reduce pain and improve cartilage lubrication for many people. It's also important to remember that as we age, the amount of collagen in our body decreases. Collagen is the most abundant protein in our body, but the more time passes, the more we break down collagen. And this also worsens bone health. A lot of people think that bones are just calcium, minerals, that bones are just something hard, but bones have their own cells, the osteoblasts, and it's important to consume collagen and good protein to maintain the health of bones and joints. They're always interconnected, right? So regularly consuming plain gelatin can really help you in this regard. Another thing is that when we think of gelatin, we think of collagen. We think first about joints, and then we definitely think about skin. Especially because as time goes by, many people think about collagen because of skin firmness, wrinkles, tone, beauty, and skin radiance. That's important, but remember that the skin is our body's largest organ, so it's important for it to remain intact. The role of the skin is to separate us from the rest of the entire planet. So the skin needs to be intact to prevent bacteria, viruses, and infections from getting in, so we can stay healthy and free from inflammation. And of course, for those who are also interested in beauty and longevity, so regularly consuming gelatin will also help you in that regard. Gelatin can also be very beneficial for the digestive system. It's rich in glycine. It can help with conditions like reflux and gastritis. It helps to soothe the stomach. So it can also help with intestinal transit. We know that when we prepare gelatin, what do you do with the gelatin? You add water to it, right? To hydrate it. Because it's usually just a powder, right? It comes dry, dehydrated. So we add the gelatin, and as a result, you end up hydrating your intestines more when you consume gelatin as well. The intestines love water. It's very important for us to stay more hydrated in our daily lives, and there are older people who have a lot of difficulty with consuming water, with drinking water. And sometimes eating foods with a higher water content can help. We always think of fruits, some vegetables, but gelatin is a solid way for you to stay hydrated, which helps the intestines and also several other issues that can be interesting for some older people. Gelatin can also help you control your weight because it has very few calories. When I'm talking about good quality gelatin, it's a source of protein that will make you feel fuller. And depending on how you make the gelatin, it can easily replace a dessert. So imagine you make gelatin with a bit of coconut milk and sweetener. It turns out really delicious, almost like a coconut cream. If you add natural yogurt, gelatin, and a bit of cinnamon, it also tastes really good. So you can even mix it and make little gummies to have as dessert. So it's really interesting in the sense that you can replace higher calorie sweets with it, and it increases your feeling of fullness. And on its own, it's low in calories and high in protein, so it's great if you're trying to lose weight. Gelatin can also help people who are older, because as I mentioned, it's rich in glycine, and glycine can help you relax and promote better sleep. So if you're someone who's already making several changes to try to sleep better, I know that older people sometimes sleep fewer hours a day. Their sleep is more fragmented and of poorer quality, and they look for many options and tips to improve this. This is very important for our immunity, for weight control, for cardiovascular health, for the mind, for the brain, for memory. Sleeping well is essential for hormone secretion. And know that gelatin can also help you in a complementary way. Another cool tip is that gelatin can be a good base for you to add, for example, spices or ingredients that you would like to consume more regularly in your daily routine, where you can, for example, make a chamomile tea, dissolve your gelatin, and add other ingredients that help you relax, like valerian, for example, a valerian tea. And you can have this after dinner to help you sleep better. So sometimes it's more interesting for you to consume ingredients that you'd like in your daily routine. For example, if you want to reduce inflammation, you can take gelatin, dissolve it, add a bit of turmeric, a bit of chia, maybe mash up a banana, chop it up, and make it into a kind of sweet banana gummy to eat. So these ingredients can be included more regularly. I have a lot of recipes for functional and healthy gummies. Remember that gelatin can be used for this as well. So if you're interested and want to consume more neutral, colorless, sugar-free, flavorless gelatin in your daily routine, and you're unsure about how much to add, what would be the average recommendation? Because it will always vary from person to person, but studies say that 10 to 20 grams of gelatin per day can be a good amount. Of course, depending on the rest of your diet and your specific needs. Remember that gelatin can be used in both sweet and savory dishes, in juices, in those little gummies I mentioned, in puddings, and in healthy desserts. So it ends up being super versatile and you can add it to many recipes. Tell me, do you have the habit of consuming gelatin? By the way, one more thing. You can buy those from the supermarket, and there are people who start using it daily and even find it more interesting to buy it online in bulk. As long as it's from a good source, there's no problem at all, okay? See what works best for you in your city, right? Because sometimes, depending on where we live, everything is so expensive that buying those little packets at the supermarket can end up costing more, since you need a relatively large amount for daily use. So, there are gelatin supplements that can be more economical. This is a good tip. Let me know if you have the habit of consuming it daily. How do you use gelatin? I would love to see your comment. And share this tip with a friend or family member who would like it and needs this information. Let's work together to spread this chain of good. See you next time. Bye.